And you and I are probably hanging in the piano room or something talking, and she'll always come in, okay, Mom, so what do I need? And what do you always tell her? You don't want to say it, do you?
I don't.
No, let's hear your sense of humor.
I always giggle.
You're blushing.
Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jackie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Okay, guys, we're back. Excited to continue on this topic of being or practical ways to show appreciation in your family. We just got done talking about, basic politeness. Second one was recognizing each other whenever you enter a room, and just one more thing on that. We don't just do that at home. We do that everywhere.
Right.
It's like, even I know when sometimes we go to church and you'll go with half the kids, or I don't know, 3/4 of the kids earlier than me, because you guys are getting there early for the things you do. Bruce and I will walk in, and then even though I saw everybody 30 minutes earlier, 45 minutes earlier, I walk in. When I see the girls, in there, I always go give them a little high five or give them a little, fist bump or something. I try to just acknowledge them still, like it's just what we do, and it really brings a closeness to us. We never just show up somewhere and we're not together.
And I was just talking about that example. I was just chatting with somebody the other day, and they went over to a birthday party for their family member. And when you walked in, nobody said anything. Like everyone's on their phone. Everyone's like in their own world. Nobody was really paying attention. And it was like...
Are you saying the kids?
No,
or
everybody. Kids, adults, whoever.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of like, you're here. That's great. You showed up type thing. Mm-hmm. And it was just so like, does it matter if I show up feeling, And it almost makes you feel like this is rude. Right. When people feel like you're not seen, then automatically you start behaving in a way that is not who you are.
Yeah, and I don't think people are trying to be rude, but it feels rude.
It does.
And it feels disconnected. It like literally sends a signal of disconnection.
Right.
And then you feel a little awkward, and then it's unnecessary. A lot of it is just a little bit of laziness. It's
correct.
Just
in today's world especially, everyone's like, quote unquote, so busy or on their phone or doing whatever. It's like, slow down for a minute. And, for us, again, I can't think part of it, though, even with phones, is our kids don't get their phones all day. I mean, we don't get iPads and iPhones all day. So, when somebody walks in the room, it's pretty easy to say, hey, because you're not distracted.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Okay. Well, how about this? Let's talk about chores, practical ways to show appreciation even when you have to do work, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is another good one. Expectations are so important. Kids need to know what is expected of them, and then they'll do a great job at it. But if they don't know the expectations, it can get really out of control, and you can feel, disrespected or not seen, right? And so for us, even Hunter has a little list of what she needs to get done every day, and she kind of checks them off, as they get done. Our other kids, same thing. There's expectations, the night before. And I mean, some of the expectations are so normal now, and we've been doing it for so long, but we easily communicate with them up front. So the expectation every morning is like, take care of laundry or take care of the dishwasher or, clean up your bedroom or whatever the case may be. But that came again through communication. Mm-hmm. We had to tell them what was expected, how this is honoring, what this looks like, how appreciated I feel when you are honoring the things that Dad and I have provided for you or we have in our home or what needs to be done. And so I think it's super important that, again, the communication is so important. It's not just our home, it's God's home. We're really big on that. When we ask you to do stuff, it's not because we are trying to give you busy work. Things need to get done in the household. And we work as a team. I mean, that's our biggest thing for our whole family is we work as a team. Everyday chores, you don't get paid for those. You live in our home. We all do it. It's just a part of life.
Yeah, and it's not just because you're under my roof, you will follow my rules, no doubt. But it's the philosophy of like, this is all God's stuff, and we are blessed to have it. but you have to take care of your stuff.
Yes.
If you don't take care of the stuff God's given you, you can lose it. Right. And so we all have to chip in. It's not mom and dad's responsibility only to take care of God's stuff. We all live here. We're all a team. But really explaining that, we've pounded that into our kids for years. You know what I mean? And, another philosophy is just, always working before we play.
Yes.
And we explain that philosophy at the same time, depending on the age of the kids, even to this day, really. Our oldest are 15. They still need some structure. They still need. It's really easy. We all are. We're all very easily distracted if we don't have structure.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
even you and I spend a lot of time even going through. Okay, here's how our day goes. Here's the stuff that you and I have to do as far as business goes. These are the time frames that we need to make sure that we're focused. This is the time they need to be doing schoolwork. After schoolwork, they need a little mental break. They probably need to eat, but then there also is a cleanup time. And then there's also, after that, like a certain amount of chores that need to get done. And then we just help them get on a schedule where they can go through all of that process. But then they also get like their break for an hour or two, whatever it is, depending on the day, where we don't get to tell them, hey, listen, go do something, if it could wait. And if it's something obviously that needs to be done right away.
Urgent, of course.
But just in general, we let them have their work schedule and then their play schedule. But we had to take time to be like, how does this work? How can we do this? We even invited them into that conversation.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it first.
Yeah.
What it would look like.
Yeah.
And then we said, hey, let's discuss it with them and how it might work best for them too. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really good, and it was pretty freeing because
it was kind of
there's so many moving parts in our house all the time that it's not hard. One of the things that they expressed, because again, we're open to hearing from them.
Yes.
And they were just like, well, sometimes it just feels like we can't really do the kind of fun stuff that we want to do because we're getting interrupted to go do this thing or go do that thing. And then that's when you and I said, well, let's just have a window where they do all the things we need them to do, then give them a window where they don't have to do any of that stuff for just a window. And it just has created peace in our house,
One, again, it just goes to show again, communication. One of the ways we honor our family and each other is communicating all this with each other. Because otherwise it can come across like mom and dad are demanding it this way, no explanation, no understanding, we have no input. And then everyone's just kind of doing it, but they're doing it begrudgingly and they aren't enjoying any of it. So again, communication with chores, household schedules, how we're going to do it, why we're going to do it the way we're doing it is so important.
Yeah.
I think also understanding the fact that, flexibility is always needed. But on the flip side, like most kids only do so well, I should say, with flexibility. Like, I mean, we just came off Christmas break and the kids had pretty much 3 weeks off. Okay. No, we did some stuff. I mean, we were hosting people.
Sure.
It's not like we just sat around eating bonbons watching Christmas shows all night.
Yeah. We were busy, but it was like just fun stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
But after about the third, week, I mean, it was like, it is time to get back on the schedule. Totally. And I say that because dishonor.
Even them. Even
oh,
they felt
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
But even just things that they normally aren't doing became a little dishonoring. And we were like, it's time to clean up the act around here a little bit. I mean, our kids never go so far that we're like, but it's time to clean it up. Time to get back to a structure. Time to get things back on track a little bit for you and me and for them. And it starts with you and me communicating that with them. And that's a way of really, honoring them is saying, let's communicate about this and not just demand things.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing that our kids also, another practical way they show appreciation is that even after the end of a day or the end of a window of time when they're supposed to be helping with some chores or meal prepping or whatever it is that they're doing, when they'll come in the room and they'll say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, is there anything else that you need from me? Right? I mean, Abby's so good about this. She does it pretty much every evening, doesn't she?
She does.
Everybody's starting to wind down. They're going to go have chill time before bed. And you and I are probably hanging in the piano room or something talking. And she'll always come in, okay, Mom, so what do I need? And what do you always tell her? You don't want to say it, do you?
I don't.
No, let's hear your sense of humor.
I always giggle.
You're blushing.
I always giggle. And I tell Abby, yes, can you please mop the floor? And she's like, for real? I'm like, yes. Please go get your dad's electric toothbrush and mop the floor with it. And she goes, Mom, for real. For real? And I go, yes. And she looks at you, and what do you guys do?
I don't know. I'm always just
Typically,
like,
they're
oh,
like,
okay.
I don't know what mom's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, no, there's nothing else. You know, like it's like a little running joke. You know what I mean? Because
My toothbrush.
yes,
Yeah.
you would notice. And so,
That's gross that you would even consider that.
but anyways, on a different note, I don't even know how this happened. But the other day, I told the kids, hey guys, I was talking to the little kids, to Drews and Ellie. And I was like, hey guys, are you all ready for bed? Like, did you brush your teeth? You all done? You ready for bed? And they were like, yeah. And Ellie's like, Mom, you're not going to believe this. And I'm like, okay, what happened? She goes, I went in the bathroom in the dark and grabbed a toothbrush. I thought it was mine. It was Drew's. And it was horrible. I used his. Because they have to share a bathroom.
I bet it probably was actually a little horrible.
I started laughing. I said, you might want to turn the light on next time.
You know, that boy, he's eating, a peanut butter sandwich and then brushing his teeth afterwards,
You don't know anything about that as a little boy, right? Like, I think he's just a lot like his dad was as a child. Too much on the roll and not enough time to slow down.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love it when Abby does that, or any of the kids do it. It's not just Abby.
No,
They
Chrissy
all-
does
they
it
all
quite a
do
bit
it.
too. She's always,
But it's so cool because, we've been teaching our kids, there's just some success principles. They're really biblical principles that are applied a lot of times to finances, but it's one of the fastest ways to get a promotion in anything is
Absolutely.
to provide more value than is required.
right.
And so those going that extra mile, I mean,
Matters.
and that's just like the other day. I mean, and we're in there, we're chatting, and Abby came in again, and it was probably a week or two ago, and I just spent some time just like, I was just really, I'm thankful that you have this attitude, I just loved on her, and I think that filled her love tank a little bit. But then as she keeps doing it, it's like over time. I mean, it was just couple days ago, right? Where she comes in and she's asking, and you're telling the joke about the toothbrush again, pretty much every night. And she's like, Mom, no, really, do you need anything? And I'm like, Abby, go grab my wallet, will you, please? And she's like, yeah, sure.
I know. I got excited. I thought you were buying me something.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. But, and then she came in and I just grabbed $100 bill out and I just said, this is for you.
Yeah.
She's like, why? She's, she has no expectation
Sure.
of that. And I said, because you always go so far above and beyond. I just want you to just know that I want you to go, I want to be a blessing back to you.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, should Chrissy get some too? She's just looking out for her.
Because Chrissy is a hard worker too, but this was about Abby.
Yeah. And I said, no, you know what? I'll bless Chrissy too, but this is for you. And she was just like, wow.
And what was interesting is I had blessed Chrissy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Chrissy's normally our one that's very organized with all her time and never takes advantage of like overdoing that. She makes extra things for the house, for the food all the time. She's the first one to be like upstairs when we ask her to actually be upstairs to help 30 minutes before we leave. She's very organized when it comes with helping with Hunter and everything Hunter needs. Plus she's running her own business, plus her own schoolwork and everything like that. And she really wanted to go, kind of have a little spa thing. So I said, I'd like to gift you that. So it was just interesting that both of our hearts were like looking out for the kids that are kind of above and beyond, But it goes to show, too, the importance of you and me always seeing it because, we were actually both blessing two different kids. Do you know what I mean? And it was just great. So, again, but that goes to show the importance of teaching your kids because I know we've taught all the kids, hey, you go above and beyond. You always ask, is there anything else? You ask the coach, hey, can I help you clean up at the end of practice? Or you ask, hey, is there anything more in the kitchen for me to do? Or you ask, grandma and grandpa, is there anything else you need for me to do before we leave your house? Or we've taught all the kids this, not just one or two kids, all the kids. And a couple of them decide to remember on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of pointing out Abby and Chrissy, but the reality is they really all do it.
Totally.
It's just like, Abby and Chrissy a lot of times will do it at the end of the night, every night.
Right.
Right. But even Drews, even as sanguine as that boy is, when he's in his mode of like helping with stuff and doing all the stuff that nobody else wants to do, a lot of times he'll be like, hey, mommy. He always says that.
Yeah.
He doesn't call you mommy. He says, hey, mommy.
Yeah.
Hey, mommy, do you need anything else?
Yeah. He says it all cute with his little deep voice now. He's getting too big.
Oh my gosh, and his big feet. Like he's walking around on, these skis lately. Like what has happened?
He's like, hey, Dad, we can share shoes soon. I'm like,
I know. Like he's just sprouting, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
But even Ellie, she's super like that too.
Very
Like,
kind and loving about that stuff. And
Yeah.
and again, All of them. You know, the only one that kind of forgets the most is Hunter because everyone does it for her. And we are actually in the mode of reminding her, hey, you can help with this.
Yep.
You can do this. Like, we're actually training her up because for a long time she's had like 5 other children
Yeah.
doing stuff for her. And I'm like, hey, Hunter, you actually can do that.
That's right. And I was just reading in one of our favorite parenting books, Train Up Your Child. It was talking about how, you know, one of the things we have to make sure we don't do as parents is as if you do have when you do have siblings, that you don't shirk the responsibility of teaching your kid directly
Right?
versus expecting the older siblings to teach them.
Absolutely.
You know, they get to create atmosphere, but it's not their responsibility to have the conversations like
couldn't
that.
agree more.
You know, whether it's about faith, you know, whether it's about like appreciation, whether it's about rules, whatever,
Responsibilities,
discipline.
whatever.
Yeah, it was really good though, because I was a little bit of a check for me, because I'm like, you know, the reality is we have so many great kids that are also taking responsibility. So they want to train, they want to help.
Sure they do.
They're proactive. We built them this way, but it's like, yeah, as much as that's happening, you know, it's still on us, and
Always.
it needs to come from us because that's the way that God made it. So
Well, and it's so important. I don't ever want our children to have to take on the role of parenting before they have their own opportunity to do so. It's an honor to do it ourselves.
very good. Okay, well, we got one more episode to go with this.
All right.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. See you next time.